Good morning and welcome back to the podcast. It's Evil Dungeon Master Universe Podcast. I'm your host, Evil Dungeon Master Vince, and it is Monday. Yeah, I paused. It's Monday. It's time for a new podcast, time for a new topic, time to talk about something a little bit interesting. Ask the DM at theevildm.com is my email address. You can contact me on Facebook as well. Love having conversations with people, which I've been doing a lot lately. A lot of people messaging me on Facebook or on Twitter. Great to have some good times. The Evil DM at Twitter is, or X, whatever the hell you want to call it, Elon. But that's where I'm at. Today, I want to talk about some advanced Dungeons and Dragons. I want to talk about how a lot of people I've noticed say that the Illusionist is a a class that no one wants to play because it's kind of worthless, or I've heard people say illusionists stink because their magical spells are awful, or it's just not a very efficient class for them. I hate those excuses, by the way. I don't know. I played many illusionist class characters, and I thought they were actually kind of cool. And there's one strategy that at lower levels that can make them just as efficient as any other magic throwing class. But the second level spells, there are three of them that could probably, if set off correctly, help a lot during battle. And it could definitely trip up the big bad so that he he would be ineffective. I was looking at it and I'm thinking, well, I've tried this combination before, and if it doesn't actually hit, you still have other options. Now, you need to have 3 spell slots for this, so that gets a little higher on the level, but you can use any one of these combinations on, say, the big bad, but you have blindness at level 2, you have blur at level 2, and you also have deafness at level 2. Now, blindness itself is a special just saving throw, only takes 2 segments to cast, so it's a quick cast. This spell causes the recipient creature to become blind and see only grayness before his eyes. Various cure spells will not remove this effect and only dispel magic, or the spellcaster can do away with the blindness if the creature fails its initial saving throw versus spell. Now, remember that when you're fighting blind, you get -4, 6, sometimes 8, depending on what you're using and where you are. So if you're zapping the big bad in the middle of a battle, and you hit him with blindness, you just gave your entire party a bonus because he has no idea what's going on. Blur. When a blur spell is cast, the illusionist causes an outline of his or her form to become blurred, shifting and wavery. This distortion causes all missiles and melee attacks to be made at -4 on the first attempt and -2 on successful attacks. It also allows a +1 on the saving throw die for any direct magical attack. Now, you can use that or you don't have to use that. Area of effect says illusionist. I would allow that spell to be modified when the character is high enough level to start modifying so that you can throw it on your fighter, throw it on your paladin, throw it on the ranger, throw it on people that are in combat because they can take any advantage they can use in combat. And I could see this definitely being something that a fighter would love to have in a front line, being blurred out, having 3 of him standing there, so the monster's like, "What's going on?" And sounds like the pillow guy from Riffs. Um, and finally, we got deafness. Excuse me. The deafness spell causes the recipient creature to become totally deaf and unable to hear any sounds. It's kind of like blindness. This deafness can be done away with only by means of dispel magic or by the caster. The victim is allowed a saving throw. The material component is beeswax. That's funny. Beeswax in your ears. You got wax in your ears. See, this deafness right here, while may not exactly do much right away, but I would definitely give a negative modifier to someone who is deaf trying to fight because you don't know, you can't hear your surroundings. So it's easy to get snuck up behind, someone to hit you from the side, things like that. So those three itself will definitely help your party. There's also Wall of Fog and Fog Cloud. So there's tons of second level spells that will help an illusionist get through a battle or help his team. Now the Fog Cloud is kind of like a cloud kill, but is more like Wall of Fog. So I don't really know. I mean, the Fog Cloud is greenish, and it casts a cloud of fog that moves away from him at 1 inch per rate per round, so every 10 feet. Although it behaves in most respects as if it were a cloud kill, the only effect of the fog is obscure vision and just the wall of fog, just as the wall of fog does. So and wall of fog is basically you're just throwing down a wall of fog somewhere in front of you, and it sits there. Of course, a gust of wind or a breeze can blow it away. Fog cloud at least looks like cloud kill and moves away from you, so it kind of tricks the foe into thinking that there's a poisonous cloud kill coming right for them, so they're going to start running away. I mean, there's tons of other examples in here where, phantasmal force and invisibility. You have mirror image. You even have the sphere spell you can do, hallucinatory train. There is so many spells in here for an illusionist that he can actually work with if you have imagination and a good GM. I should say DM. Any good DM should let an illusionist kind of give him a little bit of give him a little bit of rope. I don't want to say hang themselves, but give them a little bit of leeway and let them try to have fun with this class, because this class all relies on people who have good imagination with spells. A lot of these spells are very open ended. Some of them are spot on, tells you exactly what it is, but there's a lot of them that leave it up to your imagination. And someone with, like I said, with a great imagination and a good DM can actually have a lot of fun with these spells. Now remember, and I have to say this because if you're a player and you do something with the spell and then argue with the GM, or I keep saying GM, with the DM about not being able to do it, and he's like, all right, fine, you could do it, but remember, if you can do it, NPCs can do it. So just remember that. What you can do, so can the NPCs. So as long as you're fine with that, don't argue. So anyway, take a look at the Illusionist spells in case you haven't in a while. I think it's actually an excellent class to play, especially if you're bored of the same old, same old. Illusionists are not as weak and silly as you think they are. So, and I know it's not the opinion of everybody, but I've heard it quite a bit when I played AD&D that people will say Illusionist is kind of a waste class, a silly class to play when there's so much better stuff to play. I don't know. Tell me what you think in the comments about the Illusionist class itself and the spells that it has. Some examples of what you've done with an Illusionist if you played it. Be great in the comments. Don't forget to check out the Spotify account for this podcast to check if there's any poll. I always try to throw up some type of little poll. So you tell me. I'm going to head out. Keep original, keep it old school. Have a great Monday, and hopefully you'll have a great week as well. Good night, everybody.